Hey guys, this is Pete from MyJewelryBunch.com. Today we're going to talk about some tools. Today I wanted to go over a new purchase that I just got. These are hand pressing tools that you could use for wristwatches and pocket watches that help you put the hands on a watch without marking or marring the hands. Hands are very highly polished and any little metal mark on them can leave a scratch. Sometimes that can be unsightly. I've been using my staking set to do this over the last 23 years, and I think it's time I upgraded to these plastic tipped hand pushers. So we're going to use this watch that I have. It's a Tag. This watch needs a new movement, and it's a perfect opportunity for me to test out these hand pushers. Here you can see I'm removing the hands from the watch, and I'm also taking an opportunity in this video to show you something that you should know about certain movements. These two screws here hold on the spacer ring on this Tag watch, so we're going to remove these two screws, pull the spacer ring off, and I'll put the screws in the parts tray. The next thing we want to do is remove the dial, and here's what I wanted to talk about. If you notice on these screws, on these particular movements, you can see the little silver peg is the dial feet. The little brass screw has a flat side on it. So one side of it is flat, and when you turn that flat side towards the dial foot, the dial will actually loosen up and come off the movement. So if I turn that approximately 90 degrees counterclockwise, I'm just trying to get a close-up picture of it. I apologize for the zoom in to my fingers, but I'm trying to do this under a small camera. So you can see I'm turning it so the flat side is facing the dial foot, and now the dial feet are loosened from the movement and the dial will come right off. It's the same process in reverse for putting that dial back on. And I'm going to show you a close-up picture of the new movement as soon as I get the dial off for this watch. So here we have the new movement, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see the hole where the dial feet protrude through, and right there by my thumb, and you can see how that screw has a little flat edge. The flat edge is currently facing the hole. So once I've put the new dial onto the watch, I'm going to turn the two screws that are attached to the dial feet, or that connect to the dial feet. I'm going to turn those about 90 degrees clockwise, and that'll lock in the dial into the movement. So one little thing I wanted to share with you before we go into the next step. You can see I'm turning it there just a little bit. And if you need a better view, I would suggest pausing the video to take a look at that. I'm trying to do my best to keep my hands steady. And I'm just going to turn that 90 degrees, and it'll lock in that dial foot. Okay, so here's the watch with the dial on, and now it's time to put the hands on. First thing I always do if I have a watch with a day or a date on it is set the date to the midnight position. And here you can see the hole in the tip of the tool. That hole allows the cannon pinion to protrude through so that you can push the hands onto the watch without doing any damage. The set I have is 2 pushers, and there are 3 different size holes, and one you'll see here in a second. There's the smallest of the holes for the cannon pinion, and this end is flat, and it allows you to put the second hand and chronograph hands on. So here I'm just setting the date and time to midnight, in this example midnight on the 7th. And now I'll grab the hour hand and put the hour hand onto the hour wheel. And we're going to do our best to align it directly at the 12 o'clock position. And now I'm going to use the pusher to gently push down. You can see I have one with a medium size hole. I'm going to push down on the hand, and we're going to gently push it onto the hour wheel slowly, and you'll see when it's flush with the hour wheel, the hand's in the right position. You don't want to push it down too far because you don't want the hand rubbing against the dial. So now I'm just going to check and make sure that it's level. Now we'll grab the minute hand. And again, we're going to align that minute hand the best we can to the 12 o'clock position. And that way both hands point directly at that, in this case, the 12 o'clock diamond. And don't feel funny if you can't get that hand out there. These are small parts. That takes a little time. And it's the end of the day for me, so I was a little tired doing this. Once that's aligned right, I'm going to take the smaller of the 4 hole presses and we're going to push down on that minute hand. You can see when I lift up on it, there are no marks on those hands at all. It's a perfect tool to use for hand setting. This is the best opportunity to make sure the hour hand and the minute hand do not touch each other when you go around. That's why I always leave a crown in the watch while I'm working on it, so that I can turn the hands. Just double check that there's no contact with the hands, and the minute hand isn't going to make contact with any of the diamonds that protrude from the surface of the surface of the dial. Now let's grab the second hand. Be very careful with that second hand because the second hand sweep pinion is very delicate, so you don't want to push very hard on it. You just want to seat the second hand and to make sure it's low enough it won't touch the dial. And you can see here I'm using the flat end hand pusher. And I'm just going to gently push that down so that it's firmly seated onto the pinion. And again, this is the best time to check for clearances. Now that we've added a third hand, we want to make sure that none of the hands contact the second hand. You can see in this case, it's kind of rubbing against it. It's kind of hard to keep my hand steady, and I'm doing the best I can. But unfortunately, the second hand and minute hand are just slightly touching at the tip. So I would like to bend up that second hand ever so slightly. I'm just going to try to push it a little bit. And now I'll grab my tweezers and just kind of pull up the one side where it's low so that the hands don't make any contact. You always want about 1/4 of a millimeter between your hands. Sometimes you can go higher, depends on the watch. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find these tools useful. There will be a link below in the description where you can buy a set of these hands. I'm going to put 2 different types in, and you can pick your choice. They're not very expensive, and they're a good investment if you're going to do a lot of watch work, especially when you have to take off hands and put them back on. If you like this video, guys, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If you can share it with anybody you know who's interested in watches, I'd appreciate that also. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button because you'll be notified when I post up new videos. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and happy watch fixing.